hands in the sky. The brothers in the back shooting traps now, what's up? Committee pity the fool that act shitty in the midst of the calm, the witty. New Jerusalem, get the fuck up. Shaolin, get the fuck up. Long Isle, get the fuck up. Worldwide, get the fuck up.
Kind of like just talking, and all of a sudden we just started to geek out into a real serious geektasm, you know? Where
Geektasm?
I had a geektasm.
No.
Alright. So, once again, we are back. We're back with a consistency. You know, I mean, last week we kind of ended kind of quickly or abruptly, you know, and womanly, and also I realized that when I edited it, I left out the part where Colin, you know, if it was your wife who was calling you, you know, you'd be running.
But she didn't.
But she would.
She would, yeah.
And he would. So anyway, we're back. I'm alive. I'm alive.
Very good.
Speaking about being alive, even though we kind of like we did cover a good bit of the 80s action. Even though it was true that at the end you said that we didn't even hit Lethal Weapon, you know, and everything.
We hit Commando.
We hit Commando. He
hit him in the head. And I think we spent like about 5 minutes talking about his pecs. But I mean, you know, what we should give it up to Mel Gibson though. I mean, because I mean, Lethal Weapon and Shane Black's script really did kind of like infused the 80s action and moved it into the 90s. So I mean, that is for
It
sure.
made it hip.
Yeah.
It made it cool.
Yeah, I mean, and of course it also gave us that quintessential line of "I'm too old for this shit." That was used constantly for the next 20 years.
Dialogue was so good, so snappy.
Shane Black, man. Iron Man 3's coming. You know,
next week.
So
like with the Last Boy Scouts.
Last Boy Scout.
Long Kiss Goodnight as well, which is another little.
I think he was the Tarantino before there was a Tarantino.
Yes.
Now that's a good way of looking at it. That's a good way of looking at it. I mean,
he was ahead of his time.
Yeah. And he's still out there. He's still out there.
He's not doing enough.
No, he's not. But you know what? He's also
$20 million for Long Kiss Goodnight. You're not going to do much else.
He's not pimping himself, is he? He's not going ka-ching, ka-ching. I'll write that like David S. Goyer. Ka-ching, ka-ching. I'll write that.
David S. Goyer's work is best when somebody else is working with him.
Or yeah.
I think the only thing about Shane
he did try to direct.
I think the only thing about Shane was that he was on such a role when he finally had a smack in the face with Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
That hurt him.
But that's another example. Too many cooks, etc.
Yeah. I think if I remember right, it was like they didn't know where the story was going, and it was really like a touch of Purple Rose of Cairo, and you know, I mean, it was kind of interesting to see Arnold Schwarzenegger play against himself.
But if you think about it, it's such a great idea.
As with all
movies,
it was a good idea. The central idea is very good, but it's how they stick to it and they divert from it, and you get a real sense of the studio's not happy about this. We need more of this. We need more of that, and it's like, whoa, you could cut a good 20-odd minutes out of that movie, and it's salvageable. It really is. Yeah. You spend way too long within the movie.
Way too long within the movie. You know, it's good. No, it's a good way of looking at it. So what we decided to do was we decided to kind of stay in the 80s period, but bring it up to the present day to what's happening, because as Murray was saying is that we kind of got excited when we were discussing topics, and I was reading. Yeah, I do read. I was reading, and now it came along, you know, about this new Evil Dead, you know, and then I thought, well, look, man, you know what? Let's talk about 80s horror. You know, I mean, I had some friends, they were on Facebook talking about it last night, and we were lamenting about when horror was actually horror. I mean, we're not talking about suspense and terror. We're not talking about torture porn and pornography. We're talking about horror. And in the 80s, slasher films, where movies were scary, when you're like this, you know, behind the couch. That's what we're going to talk about. And when we talk about that, we'll look into whatever happened.
About Howard the Duck.
No.
Well, we didn't say horrifying. We said horror. We didn't. There will be no mention in the George Lucas. No need to turn this off now. But
not even Blue Harvest. The horror beyond imagination. Sorry.
So yeah, I don't know. But either way, horror as it leads us into our lament. Because I mean, I figured that with us as much loving of film that we could talk about real when horror movies was good. So I mean, like, so let's begin in the beginning when. So we're not talking about like atom bomb movies from the 50s or anything. We're talking about like horror and things. So it actually began in '79 with Black Christmas, didn't it?
No.
You're not gonna say the Babysitter Murders, are you? Because
Black Christmas wasn't made in '79.
Babysitter Murders.
Oh.
Okay,
Black
sorry.
Christmas.
Right. Babysitter Murders was '79, wasn't it?
Halloween.
Yes.
78.
78. Yeah.
Anyway, forget my timeline. Black Christmas. Let's start.
Okay. Black Christmas. Okay. Well, let's just skip to the chase, as they say. Black Christmas kind of.
Chase.
Get chased out.
Hey.
What is he doing here? Fucking Swifty. Go ahead.
Black Christmas kind of sowed the seed, but it was Halloween.
Well, of course,
Halloween really just
but Halloween
boom.
was inspired by Black Christmas
Yes,
because
it was.
John Carpenter was an art director on Black Christmas.
That's right. Yeah. But
But Black Christmas died a death. It was.
All right. I didn't expect to spend a lot of time with Black Christmas.
I agree with what you're
Except for in a sense where Black Christmas also had a remake. So when we talk about horror and the goodness of horror, we'll also talk about when it's destroyed with remake. So Black Christmas was indeed the first kind of like slash.
But Halloween, as you said, was the
Yeah.
first big boom of a horror.
Yeah.
And for a wide mainstream audience as well, not just a horror crowd.
Yeah.
You speak to most people who who may never like horror movies, but they will give props to Halloween every time.
Well, no, definitely. I mean, I remember, like that line from Jamie Lee Curtis when the kids asked her, "It was the boogeyman," and she goes, "Yes, I think it was." And the thing about it was there was actually a movie that came out after that called The Boogeyman.
That's right.
And I remember being a kid watching. I remember being a kid watching Halloween and so terrified. I was so terrified because I was like around the age of those kids and stuff like that. And then so when The Boogeyman came out, I thought that was the sequel.
A little GeekTasm for you folks. Okay, which actor to this day says Halloween is the only movie he's regretted turning down?
An actor turning down Halloween? There was not many good roles for Ben in that movie.
Down. And he said, "Oh man," after it came out, we didn't actually say it like that. That's my dad.
Was it Christopher Lee?
It was Christopher Lee.
Oh, because he was going to be the Tyler Pleasance role.
Yeah, I think he offered it to Chris Lee and he offered it to Peter Cushing.
Nah, they both turned it down.
Right.
Christopher
So
Lee
his
says
love of House of Usher.
It's the only movie he truly regrets turning down.
Only because if you think Christopher Lee, you think from 1970 to 1990 he'd done nothing.
No.
Excuse me, I think you'll find.
No, I mean nothing of great importance.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think.
Apart from Jaguar Lives.
Yeah. Stop jumping the frog. But like the whole point about it is that
I think it would have been a good move for him.
I don't know, man. Because
Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance. I mean, I love the opening of Halloween 2, where Donald Pleasance is like, "I shot them 7 times. And then the guy comes out and goes, "Hey man, what's going on, man? I've been trick or treating to death tonight." And he goes, "You don't know what death is." Wait. Let me do the run. You don't know what death is. And then he comes down running, looking at the houses like, and the music keeps it.
The best thing about Halloween 2 is I'm not a great fan of Halloween 2. I think it's poorly done and really just.
Well, it looks nice.
Well,
nice.
they kind of
shot it out.
Yeah.
The only thing I like about it is that it starts exactly where the first one left.
Yeah.
It's a direct.
Exactly.
Or
That's
you
what I
can
love.
put them together.
Like Rocky 2.
Yeah. Brilliant.
That's what I love.
That's the only part of it.
I think Rocky 2 did it because of that. You know what I mean?
Rocky 2 was before
let's bring up.
Rocky 2 was before Halloween 2.
Forget my timeline.
Halloween 2 does have one of the grossest.
Time traveler.
One of the grossest little makeup effects ever because it's so real and it's not even particularly gory, but it's one of the kind of like
what is?
Ooh, and it's the kid with the razor blade stuck in his teeth.
Because you were a kid, weren't you?
Exactly, and you're like,
and you could imagine biting into an apple and that happening to you. I mean, and that was one of those things that people say, don't trust your neighbors.
But we didn't have trick or treat then. We didn't have trick or treat back in those days. Trick or treat trick or treat is a recent phenomenon in this country.
I wait for you to people over here. But either way, it's yes. That was really scary. Was like that.
Would you think if the original Halloween had come out, if it was to open today in its form, would it be the success it was?
No.
No, because there was, even though that was a bloody scene, if we go back to Halloween 2, even though that was a bloody scene, and the nurse being drained of blood was a bloody scene.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it wouldn't have been enough blood. So the first Halloween, I think you were gonna say, wasn't really bloody.
No, like Chainsaw, it's all up there. It's all up there, and as it should.
See, that's why I'm trying to say. What's great about John Carpenter was, as a filmmaker, he was about terror. He was about suspense.
Mood, yeah.
Mood, yeah.
The scariest scene for me in Halloween is when Michael stabs the guy who's sleeping with.
Yeah, where he hangs him on the thing
and
and
he just looks at him. He just tilts his head.
No, there's plenty of scary scenes. I love it when the kids hide behind the curtain. And you know they go on the boogeyman and he turns around and Michael just walks across the.
My favourite is the moment where she stabbed him in the neck.
Oh.
And he falls to the ground.
Oh, and the doorway.
And they're in the door.
Yeah.
And they're kind of hugging. And they're going, it's okay. And he just leans up like that. But the music.
Yeah. See, that's what.
Well, that's what you like, is because it's the score, don't you? I mean, you know, why don't you talk about the score?
I don't think people.
Well, that's
give him the credit.
I
don't think people give him the credit for what he does, John.
I do.
He's not the greatest musician ever lived, and he'll tell you that. He's not.
I tell you who would give him props and has done is a lot of early hip hop people.
Yeah.
People like Africa Bambaataa and whatnot have given John Carpenter a big thumbs up. In
first thing I remember, the first time I ever saw going off Halloween, the first time I ever saw John Carpenter was in Salt Precinct 13 on video, and that opening theme.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Carpenter score.
Yeah. Blew me
away. I'm so glad on the.
Is that so ahead of its time?
I'm very much ahead of its time. You know.
And if you get the DVD or Blu-ray, you get the full isolated score and in full stereo as well.
It's not even
tragic what they did with the supposed remake of that movie.
My favourite is a single note. It goes on forever. The little girl's been shot. And
the guy is just for music wise, like Skip New York, and he's just.
No, it was. I mean, Salt Precinct 13 was just like a phenomenal film, you know, and everything like that. I mean, like even though like John Carpenter always credits Rio Bravo, I've gone back and watched Rio Bravo.
I think that's just his all-encompassing.
No, I know. Whoa, the Alamo and all of that.
It's a western. It is a western.
He's still trying to. Carpenter for about the last 25 years has been trying to make a western.
El Diablo, he wrote
straight out western. No studio.
Vampires was probably as close.
No studio will give him the money to do it, and it's like it's a real shame. Just to see.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
But music-wise, I mean, that was probably 30-40% of Halloween's success.
Yeah. I think one of the terrifying things about Assault on Precinct 13, you know, and I mean. It is pretty much a horror movie because if you think like the Spanish guys, whatever, like zombies.
That's a huge influence.
Yeah. But I think the most scariest bit in that film. What do you think the most scariest bit in the film is?
Oh,
Assault on Precinct 13.
The silent. Well, it depends really. You got the silent assault.
Most horrifying bit.
Well, they're breaking the arm and
shooting the little girl.
Who loved.
Never would have seen that in a movie.
You won't see it now. You won't see it, you won't see it, you know, as in something that have a wide release.
Who's the little girl?
Kim Richards.
Escape from Return.
Hello, Larry.
But she
I remember I saw an interview with John. He said he wishes he never done that.
What, shot the girl?
Yeah.
But she loved it. She absolutely loved it. She said she thought it was hilarious.
He said he just thought he'd gone a little bit too far.
Well. It was just that guy. He was the guy he used in
Escape from New York. Yeah.
But it was just so matter of fact. I think that's what I'm trying to say is the scariest thing in that movie because the guy just like, you know.
I hate the sequence where they're driving along.
She's like, hey, this ain't pistachio.
Through the sights, and you're just getting so many random people. A lot of those people, by the way, weren't actors. They just were people that they.
The thing is, I've said about John's style. Talking John now, is the
sorry, it's Mr. Carpenter.
About his style, it's tension even in that. As you say, it's like a horror film because not a lot happens in a sort of Precinct 13. It's just corridors.
There's just like little set pieces, but exactly.
Yeah, but he maximized it though.
Yeah,
that's what he really maximized it. I mean, the only thing that you got to think though. I mean, like the guy who they were doing it all for, you know, he was really just kind of like awestruck, but you know, he was away from the whole middle of the movie, and he was only just supposed to be laying down, you know, behind the counter. So I mean, like, never does he get up to support them. Never does he get up to help, and all that. And that's why it's crazy at the end when they see him, like being rolled out. They're like, "Who is this guy?"
Remake, where they go for all that action, it becomes just another action scene.
No, but that's kind of like what's great about Carpenter and that film, to end off with, is that I love the fact that Carpenter doesn't feel like he has to explain things, and because I think horror films have such stupid exposition.
Yeah.
Like, why are you in their house? Why are you not leaving? Where's your phone? All these kind of things.
Carpenter
just said, you know what?
Carpenter grew up in watching 50s sci-fi films that lasted 75 minutes. That's what he wants. He wants to get in, get out. And that was what he wanted. He made films that he would like to have seen, honestly.
Yeah. But I mean, he wasn't.
The worst thing about Carpenter is if he got a budget.
It is probably like the worst thing, because also too is the actors are mainly friends of his. The actors are mainly friends of his too. You could tell in that way because they couldn't really act that well.
Well, he has that. He has like those go-to guys in his
ensemble,
like Tommy Wallace.
Well, yeah, they're in the band though.
Nick
Castle, yeah, they're in the band and everything like that. But I think in the actors as well. He uses a lot. He has his whole family team. But back into the horror thing is like when
we did skip there, didn't we? We went away from.
Well, no. I mean, I'm pretty sure 13 is horror though. In a way. But it is a good film. Yeah, it's a good film. But so when we go after Halloween though, I mean, and we go Halloween 2, it really launched this whole slasher phenomenon.
I think it was Halloween.
Friday the 13th was next.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But Friday the 13th really, once
Friday the 13th was interesting. Sean S. Cunningham.
Everything else really, from Freddy, all comes from Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I don't think people
again though, you got a really good score.
Yeah.
Right? You got a really good score, and so do you think that horror needs?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes that's the only thing that gets you through.
Yeah, well.
But the thing about the Friday the 13th movie, particularly the first one particularly, is the fact that it changed the audience. When Halloween came out, it was everybody went to see it.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, you had your horror fans, but more importantly, you had your teenagers going to see it, and that's the audience that still to this day is your core audience for this.
Teenage
girls particularly love these sort of movies.
Yeah.
The thing is what the original Friday the 13th is that it's got a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And a cracking twist. If you don't know the twist, it's
no. It's
like double twist.
It's like the best twist.
Yeah.
Really, at that time, because I think because horror was what I'm trying to say, because horror was developing.
Yeah.
Remember, it was only just developing then. So because it was developing as a genre in itself, that was a really crazy twist. I mean, where do you think that came from? I mean, John S. Cunningham.
Yeah, but the idea of things like the final twist, you can cite movies like Carrie, you can cite movies like going even further back to the Abbey as well, which has got one of the best twists of any movie ever. And folks, if you've never seen that movie, go and see it now.
They remade
it with Sharon Stone, but
we don't talk about remakes unless we're pissing on them. But I
know we're talking about 80s horror films, but I think going back to Texas Chainsaw, that had a big influence on 80s horror films because video came out, and Texas was one of the first videos. So a lot of people sort of.
Yeah, well, no. But see, that's why I wanted to talk about it, because that does bring us into that whole video store era.
Yeah, the whole mid-70s, right through to the 80s films, particularly in this country, a lot of movies were discovered for the first time. They'd never been released.
Yeah, well, see, in America, the 80s is when we had the advent of cable television. So that was our video store before video stores. So in that aspect, that's when we would get the international imports and everything else like that. So, it was like what you said, it's like all of these movies were being made. And when you talk about the video store in general, you're talking about the fact that people just went to the video store, I'll take that. And they needed these crappy movies, so we didn't even think about them as crap.
Movies?
Well, no, that's the thing. You didn't think about them as crap, but
obviously there was no. You couldn't get hold of. You were 13 or 14. You couldn't get hold of reviews. You didn't want it. You went in there, saw the cover. Anyone could have done that cover. You didn't know it was in that film.
Yeah. Well, cover art is everything.
You saw this cover, and you went, wow. never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one.
Which
Yeah,
is
It's the main.
the red and black one.
I mean, and
that's
that's really crazy. That was a crazy idea to like have Leatherface in a suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, because if you think about it, he was a silhouette. You know, he had the wild, like crazy 70s hair, and he was in a suit. So that made it really interesting. Like, here's some fat guy in a suit
I love
to
on the UK, the first UK video of that, the tagline for the cover was "It happened," and I always wanted to have in little brackets at the bottom. No, he didn't.
But that's the first film that actually affected me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, do you think just like I said about the photo Precinct 13 with the little girl that had the other horrible act that you wouldn't really see in a movie, which was like the fat guy in a wheelchair?
That didn't really. Yeah, that was.
But he was still in the wheelchair. We weren't even calling people disabled at that time.
Yeah,
I think that scene.
So that made him really helpless. So
I don't think that
overweight
affected me
and in a
much
wheelchair.
because I saw Friday 13th Part 2 about a week or two later, and there's a similar sequence in that where like a guy.
But I think. See, that was my point. I think he was in that because of.
Oh
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think because
the main scene that affected me in Chainsaw was Leatherface coming out the door.
Boom. Yeah, yes, the door.
The kid's
door. It's
leg.
not so much the hitting; it's the door slamming for me.
Boom.
Because the door.
It was the leg kick.
It was the leg. I still remember the first time I saw it. I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
What the hell am I watching?
What about the meat hook?
For a 13-year-old kid.
What about the meat hook though?
Well, the meat hook didn't really. Leatherface just scared the living daylights out of me.
Yeah, well, you should.
But he's real. He's absolutely. He's kind of.
I mean, usually, like in a big Hollywood film, that scene would have been so protracted and so laid out, and
as it was in the remake. Yeah.
But with it's just boom, 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 gone. And you're like, shit. And that really.
But it was the image of the door, because what I found disturbing about the door was because the rest of the house was so decrepit.
What the hell is this silver door?
This door is immaculate.
It's the only door to use.
It wasn't immaculate. It was just silver
with the sun
to the brown
bouncing off it as well, and it's like whoa, what's happened here? You know?
It's like where is he? Yeah. Where that room leads?
One is behind there, and then it's like, ugh.
It's still one of the best art-directed movies
stunning
ever.
I can't say enough about Chainsaw Massacre.
Are you talking about because of bird feathers or something?
Just everything about it. It's just
the look of the house.
It's the dirtiest film I've ever
seen. Dane Pearl was the cinematographer.
Oh, the art director was by.
Well, Dane Pearl was the cinematographer, wasn't he?
But the actual. Oh god, what's his name?
No.
Was it Cletus Anderson?
No.
Well, in fact, I think it was Cletus Anderson. No, same letters. But
or don't.
Yeah.
Who are you going to send them to?
Yeah, exactly.
Send Kate.
Send him Kate. But like, either way, what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that it seems so real and earthy, and you could smell it. You really could smell it.
It's the dirtiest, sweaty film.
Well, I don't know. You know, like because like even though again we say we're in the 80s, when you talk about something so gritty as that, I'm gonna have to bring up Mother's Day.
I love Mother's Day. Sorry, before we go to Mother's Day, I think what made Chainsaw even weird, I know it made gritty, I've seen it on super quality or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that video.
Oh yeah.
To it. That
off colour.
It's like it's
not right. The opening scene with the
the whole movie. I think just watching it on video. Yeah.
It just gives you that extra.
Well, see, for me, it's the Dodge van. You know what I mean? I mean, every time I see a freaking Dodge van, I'm like, I go like this.
Get on that one.
Every time I see a Dodge van, I'm like this. You know what I mean? But I mean, Mother's Day. First of all, Mother's Day was best friend. I mean, actually, Cabin in the Woods reminded me of Mother's Day.
First time
opening of Cabin in the Woods reminded me of the opening of Mother's Day. You know, when they were at that seminar and everything else like that, you know what I mean? But, like, the sons, they were, like, crazy. They had the girl in the drawer. It was like...
Unfortunately, we got to... Mother's Day was on VTC over here, and it was cut
to ribbons.
So we didn't get to see.
Let me tell you, it was hard.
I have seen
you need to find that movie, because it was just like... You probably didn't even get the gruesomeness of that movie.
No.
I mean, like, when the girls were, like, camping, and like the guys were stalking them for a long while. It was one of those things that, Jesus Christ, man, they spend a long time just stalking these girls in the woods. But then, like, when they actually came at them when they were asleep, you know, like they put one girl in a sack, and it was like the big yellow sack, and then he ties it up like with the drawstring, and he swings it at the tree. You know what I mean?
Just like
see
in
that part?
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
There's a
Jason does exactly the same thing.
when she got telekinesis.
there's a
that's the
Yeti
one.
film called Night of the Demon.
Night of the Demon, yeah.
Laura Park Lincoln, I think her
Which
name
happens
was.
on that as well. It's a sleep
The
back.
girl
Night of the Demons was excellent. With the black kid who always ran every time he started killing, he always ran the other way. We called him Rabbit and stuff like that because he was just always screaming around. But that was what you do. That's what you do. You see somebody, you run. You don't try to save the girl. He was with the girl. It's like nah. He was running in the other direction and stuff. And he survived at the end too.
That's the thing,
Running was good.
Video,
Running
as you
good.
say, it's different for you because you had a lot of cable and a lot of channels that just show.
Yeah. Well, I saw Night of
because
the
we had
Demons,
to
the
fill up
pictures.
the time.
Yeah.
We had to sort of, on a Friday night, me and my dad would go to
Yeah.
the video shop, and he didn't know. I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue. You just look around and go, wow, that was great.
You don't know how to pick up on
There's-
things.
it's not like
It's just like an old woman on the cover,
Yeah, anything-
and then the sun's in the background with the gas.
I think
mask on.
by the time I was like 13, 14, and I was buying, like, religiously buying two magazines in particular, two imported magazines, Starlog and...
Starlog, yeah, I remember
And,
Starlog. Comic Scene.
no, not Comic Scene, because it was only
You
one
remember
shot.
Comic Scene, though?
Yeah, I remember Comic Scene, it's by the same company.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Fangoria.
Fangoria, yeah.
Fangoria
For them
became...
days.
But the thing is, because we got Fangoria as a magazine like a month late in this country, and so by the time stuff would come out, and what used to piss me off most of all was the fact that you get all these great articles, and by the time the movie come out, the studio got a hold of it and trimmed it, and by the time it got over to the UK, the BBC got a hold of
It's
it.
the famous one that you did, the Chainsaw 2.
Chainsaw 2, yeah.
So
Well,
big.
Chainsaw 2, which was released in the States in '86.
Yeah.
We didn't get it in this country at all at the movies. It finally turned out it's never been out. It was never released on video in this country.
Yeah.
It finally came out on DVD years later. Completely what's the word? Just completely under the radar. They just released it.
No.
Well, I saw it on bootleg in about 1988. Finally got hold of a copy and watched it. And after reading all these articles and these fantastic pictures of like Tom Savini's work, you watch the movie, you think, well, where's that bit? Where's this bit? Where's that bit? And there's some great stuff that they cut out, and you think, oh man. And it was still on in the US. It was on radio.
No.
And yet they still cut it.
So like here I am trying to talk about 80s horror. You probably haven't even really seen most of the stuff I've seen and everything like.
Probably have now.
Yeah, it was like now.
Well, you've seen like Motel Hell and all that other kind of
yeah.
stuff and everything like that. So.
That was released on video over it.
Yeah. But so like.
Warner Brothers released Motel Hell.
Yeah. Well, I think they're coming out with like either a special edition or a new version of it or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so more horror films. I mean, Friday the 13th was really good, and then it gave us all the stuff. But what I thought was really interesting is like, we started to get these, everything was a slasher film or a crazy killer. And like, I was looking at Dallas, the new Dallas 2012, right, the other day. Yeah.
I hope there's a link here.
There is a link. Because Mitch Pileggi is the bad guy. And like, so Mitch Pileggi is the bad guy. He's the bad guy in New Dallas. And, he finally gets caught, right? And he's wearing an orange jumper. He's in prison with an orange jumper. Shocker. I mean, when he comes in, I'm just like...
2 parts of Shocker I loved. Absolutely 2 parts.
Come on, you gotta love Shocker.
There's only 2 parts of Shocker I love. And one is when he feigned having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And the prison guard's giving him mouth to mouth and he bites the lip.
Yeah.
And they do this great effect of the lip being this long as he's dragging it. But then it's the one where as they're going through the TV channels,
He makes you gotta do.
they end up in Leave It to Beaver. He's shouting, Beaver, help me, Beaver!
I think it was part of Wes's worst period.
I mean, although it's not worse than Hills of Ice Part 2.
No.
It's not worse than The Guardian.
Or Deadly Friend.
Oh, Deadly. Well, Chrissy Swanson, though.
Yeah.
Gotta love her.
Hills of Ice 2 is going to be the only film to have a dog flashback.
Dog flashback, yes!
Which I love about it, I just think that's and I've seen it to Wes Craven went, we needed the time. We needed to have a scene. And everyone else has had a flashback, so why not the dog?
Why not the dog?
Shocking.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably get lynched for this, but I've never been a great Wes Craven fan.
I had to. No, I mean,
I don't think he's a very good director.
Wes Craven is kind of overrated in a way, but I mean, like he hits those lucky spots, like with Scream, like with Freddy.
Elm Street was a need.
Elm Street was for well,
Elm Street. First
Elm
Street's fine, absolutely no problem.
Yeah, but that's
great. Apart from the very last shot.
Even though Johnny Depp dies.
But I love. I mean, Freddy's introduction actually is very good. The arms outstretched. But my favourite Freddy moment is "This is God," and he cuts his own fingers off.
God. It's because before Freddy became Freddy. It's when Freddy was
incredible.
It was incredible.
I would argue the only Freddy kind of subsequent movie where they kind of tried to bring him back to being this. Wait a minute, guys, he's a child killer. Was. I thought it was really. I was Freddy versus Jason. I actually thought. I love Freddy versus Jason. But they actually.
You know what, man? To me, Freddy versus Jason was like King Kong versus Godzilla.
Well, yeah, but even so, but it was. Yeah, it was
without the jab.
Yo.
He doesn't do
Godzilla does this.
Yeah, he doesn't. Does he?
No. He does the Ali shuffle.
No, yeah.
Yeah, he does. And King Kong goes, what? You want to
He does as well. He goes,
I got that movie. It's awesome.
We all three of us have that movie, folks.
Yeah, it's awesome.
all three of us.
Yeah. All right, back
give
to
me a
the
man.
movies.
I don't mean give me a man.
Anyway, so like,
What
about like the mother? All right, let's move on. What about those other ones like Deadly Blessing? I mean, you know, first of all, we gotta talk about poster art when we talk about Deadly Blessing because
Michael Berryman, if you put Michael Berryman anywhere.
Michael Berryman is the guy from Hills Have Eyes with no
Not the
eyebrows.
guy who did.
With the guy with no eyebrows.
Michael Berryman.
The white Tony Todd. The white Tony Todd.
Okay. Which GeekTasm, folks? Which Star Trek movie did Michael Berryman appear in?
See, you went to Star Trek.
No.
No. Star Trek 4 for the man who hates Trek. Look at that.
Is that the one with the dolphins?
Wales.
The Wales.
Wales.
They go to Wales.
He goes to Cardiff.
Voyage Home is called.
It's called
Voyage Home.
Voyage Home. Star Trek 4. The Voyage
Don't
Home.
come to Earth.
Yeah, that's one when they come to Earth.
Yeah, he's an alien. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's in a star. Obviously, the makeup's like that.
He's in Weird Science.
And of course, he's in Weird Science.
Yeah. But that was kind. That's when weird.
He's got great lines in Weird Science. His line in Weird Science is, "Could you not tell me about this? I'm a teacher."
But what's up with that little walk? He's like, keep that telling you.
He is the nicest.
I'm really sorry.
He's really nice.
Always came to when he got on for Hills of Eyes. He was just like, he walked in. He was like, wow. He just got again. You saying Wes Craven being a lucky director.
And his finest performance, obviously, is in Doc Savage. Another good guy in that movie. He plays a good guy in that.
I love Doc Savage.
Doc Savage is great. It's one of those movies where why did that sequel they I'm still waiting.
You're talking about Ron Eli?
Yeah. Dude, I forget what it is, but Ron Eli changed his name. Why would you change it to Eli?
I don't know either. But either way, so when I was talking about Deadly Blessing, you know, the one that was wasn't that the one on the Amish? They were like
Yeah.
You know, but okay, what about Dead and Buried?
Oh,
the one with the reanimated. The one with
Gary Sherman, who directed Deadly Blessing.
That got trimmed over here.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I think it's
because I think they both came out at the same time, really.
Yeah.
Gary Sherman did another great horror film in the 70s. I think it was called Deadline over here, set in the London Underground.
Deadline, no, about the train.
Donald Pleasance.
It's called Deadline. It's called something. It is called.
Raw Meat Express. Meat Market Express. Something like that. I know what you're talking about.
That's a great movie.
Then he did Vice Squad. Wings
Hauser and Susan Hubley.
It's a great film. And then he did
former wife of
Kurt Russell.
Well, because they were together in Escape from New York. In a really poor cameo by Susan Hubley.
It's a bad scene, that. It's probably the worst scene.
That's what I just said, a really poor cameo.
I think
where the product placement was so big that they're inside the chock full of nuts.
I think Kurt actually said to John, you just throw that in there.
Yeah. Come on, John, that should be the girl. Shouldn't I? You know, I should be the girl.
Although on the commentary for that, John does point out, because you do realise both our ex-wives are in this movie. And of which Russell went,
Adrian
Russell just laughs all the way through the bloody thing. That's all he does.
Why did they do this?
Blessing. And with Ernest Borgnine and Sharon Stone, who was fresh off.
He had a good cast.
I think it was Marla Jensen. I think it was, wasn't it? The one from Battlestar Galactica. Yes.
He had a good cast. He gets good casts.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, a great.
I just don't find it particularly interesting as a movie.
Not really. I just like the poster.
Okay.
But Dennis Burry had a really good poster too, with the head on the ground and all that kind of stuff.
See, the thing is with.
But that had a great ending. Dennis Burry had a great twist in.
Yeah, it's a great twist. It is a great twist.
And stuff like that, you know. Who's that actor? Because he was in the Final Countdown as well.
James Farentino.
James Farentino.
And the TV spin-off of
Is he? What?
That's
Linda Farentino's father.
I thought her name was Linda Florentino.
It's Farentino.
Linda Farentino? You talking about the one from Jade?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's Linda Florentino.
Yeah,
you sure? I don't know. I would have to debate that because I could have sworn.
You just mentioned a movie, but when I was about 10 years old, I saw it at the movies, and I thought it was the best movie ever.
Jade?
And that's the Final Countdown.
Oh yes, Final Countdown is awesome.
It's not a video.
No, but it's. I mean, you know, like the Philadelphia experiment. I mean,
John Carpenter,
folks.
But the Final Countdown is awesome. I mean, Final Countdown is one of those movies because I mean, you know, I mean, we're geeks of course, but I mean, there's a movie that when it comes on, you instantly transported back to time when you saw it, and you know, it's a time travel piece and everything else like that. You know, about an aircraft carrier and stuff like that. But it was really interesting movie, that one.
But I always love. There's a shot between the two fighter jets at the end who are just about to attack the entire Japanese kamikaze sort of entourage. And they turn around and they go, "You can't do it, guys." Oh shucks! And they turn around. They can't change history. But I remember being a kid thinking,
did they actually say? Oh, sure.
Oh, probably because it was only like
in his version they said, "Oh shucks."
Oh, fiddlesticks.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
Blimey. Blimey.
Oh, what are they? Big Van Dyke?
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on. So I mean,
there's a great 80s horror film, early 80s horror film called Superstition. If you've heard of it.
Superstition.
It's called The Witch as well at some point. It's just about basically it's about a witch who gets burned at the stake in the 1800s and she comes back. And
is it like the Manitou?
Yeah.
Ooh, the Manitou. I remember the Manitou.
No, it's not like the Manitou.
It's not like the Manitou, but I remember the Manitou.
Was the other one Tony made? Brainwaves?
Brainwaves, yeah.
It's a Newly Lamel film, which is the same.
Brainwaves. Is that the one like Embryo or something like that? Or Brainwaves?
I'll give me some Shockwaves.
Shockwaves was the zombie.
With Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
70s.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, we were right. Yeah. So all right. But so I mean, 80s horror, as you can see, like reason why I wanted to talk about that because we didn't mention, because we should mention it before we jump is Maniac. Wasn't that in the 80s?
Yes, it was 1980s.
So like what Lou Spinell. Joe Spinell, and everything like that. But what you pointed out when we talked about the sequel is that a lot of it was POV shots.
It's entirely.
Now remember that like this is like 42nd Street in the era that was 42nd Street. So you got to think that maybe did they have no budget, that they just had camera guys secretly walking through, you know, down 42nd Street.
The original is.
No, we're talking about
the remake. No, the original is.
The original is.
Original is POV.
So what?
The remake.
The remake's POV.
POV.
Why did
but you have picked up
they didn't want Toby Hooper down in the sex shops. What's his name? Toby Hooper. Toby Maguire. They didn't want him down in the sex shops.
No, it's just a device that they decided to do. They've done it all from Toby.
But you have picked up on an interesting point there. The whole notion of like 40.
Yeah, but there was in the original Maniac. There was some POV shots.
No, it's just an.
It's just pretty linear, you know. But on top of that,
trying to say, hold on.
No. When he's actually kind of like stalking POV. All right.
The remake, they just. I don't think Tobey Maguire wanted to be involved in such a film. So the majority of the film is just the camera. But every time,
guys, I know I'm not Spider-Man anymore, but
they
that's Tobey Maguire. It's
Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man.
It's not Tobey. It's Frodo.
Yeah, it's
Frodo.
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Is it sure?
Yeah,
I get those two mixed up.
I get those two mixed up.
There you go.
Elijah Wood. But it's done entirely POV. Every time anyone speaks to Elijah Wood, they speak to the camera. The only time you ever see Elijah Wood is if the camera passes a window.
Or a mirror. I've seen that one.
It's like a warped version of a peep show.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you picked up a good point there, actually, about.
Did he get paid for that though?
Well, yeah, he would have gotten paid.
But would he have got paid to be?
Unless they put the camera like on my head.
I don't think.
Well, if he doesn't say anything, no, he didn't have to get paid, but he would have gotten paid.
It's all voiceover as well. There's voiceover. I loved it. So
But say the point
Did you
about
see it?
but that era though, that era of movies, and that era of New York particularly. I mean, because another great movie from that same era of say, and I know it's like technically 79, and it's not a great movie as well. I just think it's over. Well, Driller Killer covers that sort of ground.
Driller Killer. Scissors.
I think it's overrated.
Oh, it's a schizo. Schizo, right?
Schizo, it's an English film.
Yeah, I know, but you're talking about POV movies.
But no, I'm saying we're talking about that New York sort of bohemian sort of era, and also that underbelly. Basket Case, which I think is the finest example of that.
Basket Case.
Of real underground.
I couldn't watch that because it was so disgusting. Just the thought of it was so disgusting.
We're doing a show on 80s horror films and you're saying Basket Case is so disgusting.
It was.
Why?
Because it was his brother, but it was in a I can't even talk about it.
His official review, folks, is.
I think you should cut that on, put it on Spotlight, you get loads of work for that little man you just did there.
On its own, it sounds a little bit to like Moscow P. Coltrane.
Yes, Frank Henenlotter did. I don't know if you've ever seen Henenlotter. He did Frankenhooker.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Which is a great film. It's a great sleazy little movie.
But like I said,
but going back to you with the 80s. New York, he's like Exterminator,
Vigilante, Strike Force, or Strike Back. With the Strike Back,
great.
With Tom Skerritt. Remember what I'm talking about with Tom Skerritt?
Yeah.
You remember what I'm talking about with Tom Skerritt? Was it Strike Back or Strike Force?
It wasn't called that over here. It was called.
With Tom Skerritt,
yeah, it's called Strike Back in
America.
America.
Oh yeah.
It's called something else.
Okay. But yeah, all of those, I got to get revenge. But I'm in a gritty American city. And and everything, and we'll take these like gritty New York shots.
But that's great because you will see
Italian film or something like that.
You will see like the real deal,
like
that you want to see.
1990 Bronx Warriors.
Right.
See, Ferrara, Abel Ferrara, he still does use New York how it should,
how it is.
Real.
Yeah.
No like
This 25.
I love Abel Ferrara. I'm a huge
Bad Lieutenant.
Still think
Bad Lieutenant, China Girl.
King of New York is his finest.
King of New York is
absolute finest.
Classic.
Well,
again,
a
guy who writes up to King of New York, a moderate hit. People liked it. Reviews were great.
Yeah.
He then got given money. What did he make? He made Body
Snatchers, folks,
and died a death.
Oh yeah, because that was at that point it was the third Body Snatchers, wasn't it?
It was.
And I think there was also the Robert Heinlein version was made at that time too, wasn't it? Called Body Snatchers. I was going to say Body Humpers.
There is
the original.
But I think there was a Robert Heinlein Body Snatchers at that time too, wasn't there?
Then there's a
no. That's Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Same name, but it was not.
Yeah, but no, because I think there was like about 4 or 5 Body Snatchers.
Probably.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you talk about the Abel Ferrara version, I think there was another version.
But I don't understand that Abel Ferrara made. Obviously, we've just said
for the money.
Driller Killer.
For the money. For the money.
Yeah, Miss 45, Angel of Death, which is a great film. China Girl, King of New York.
You need to pay his drugs, man.
And then that bit was, he need to pay his drugs. Yeah,
you
then we need to speak no more about Abel Ferrara. No.